Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Deep and wide, there's a fountain flowing deep and wide. Hi guys. Don't mind the dog. She's being clingy. And now she decides since she's on camera, she don't want to be on camera no more. So how's everybody doing? I'm glad you can join us again. For all you who don't know, I'm Miss Wesley, and this is Sunday School. And today, I'm just going to... You'll see it? Let me show you. Let me see if I can show you. See how the water is all troubled? It's just trembling. Now that doesn't mean much to you guys. But there's a story in the Bible about a pool. And it was located just outside the sheep market, and it was called the Pool of Bethesda. And this pool, once a season, but it was a certain season in a year, an angel would come down and trouble the water. And in that moment, anyone that had any affliction, whether they were blind, they had problems, they couldn't walk, they had whatever issue they had, they could come into this pool and they would be healed in that moment. And there was a man that would wait by the pool, and he was weak in body. The Bible says he had an infirmity. And this means that he had an issue. But the Bible doesn't get into it, but I imagine he had an issue with his bones breaking easily. Or he was feeble. And he would lay in his bed by this pool and wait for this angel to come along just so he could get healed. And Jesus noticed this man and asked him, "Why aren't you healed?" And the man goes, "Every time that the pool is troubled, everyone gets there. Someone always makes it there before me. And I can't get healed." Jesus heard the man and said, "Today you are whole. Take up your bed and walk." So the man took up his bed and he walked like nothing was ever wrong with him. And the Jews saw this and they were mad because it happened to be the Sabbath day. And they asked, "Why are you carrying your bed around?" Because in Jewish culture, that's a sign of working, and you do not work on the Sabbath day. You are to keep it holy. Even now, you should keep it holy. But this man said, "A man told me to take up my bed and walk." And they go, "Who is this guy?" He said, "Jesus." So later in the day, in the temple, the man spotted Jesus and came over to Jesus, and Jesus said, "You are made whole. Go and sin no more." And that's where we're going to leave the story. There's more to the story, but I don't want to get into that right now. What I want to get into is how this man waited and waited to be healed. I mean, his whole ambition to stay at the pool was for one day an angel to come down and trouble the waters and he make it in. And he never made it in. Then Jesus came along and healed him. As simple as me just putting my hand in this water is how simple it was for Jesus to heal him. It wasn't because the man's lack of faith to get to the pool that he wasn't healed. It wasn't because the man had no desire to get healed. It's not that he didn't try to get healed. He just never made it in. Sometimes we go through life and we want to get healed so badly of whatever's going on in our lives. And it's not that we can't get healed. Sometimes it just takes that certain moment for Jesus to come along and heal us. And sometimes it's not the way you think it ought to be. Sometimes it's just take up your bed and walk. We're waiting for miracles to happen. I know of a few times that I have been waiting for a miracle to happen. And we wait and we wait. And it's not that we don't believe it's going to happen. It's not that we don't know that eventually God's going to take care of it. We know one day the pool is going to be troubled. And every time the pool is troubled, we're waiting for God to heal whatever's wrong. And it doesn't get healed. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Like I said, one day Jesus is going to come along and you will be healed. One day, the waters of Jesus will come along and heal you. Kind of like, Naaman, he had to do something. And Naaman had a lack of faith. Sometimes we have faith and we need patience. Sometimes we just need to keep trying. Not that we don't have faith. Sometimes we need to have a conviction towards our faith. Sometimes we need to be determined. And just be patient. Patience is one of the hardest things for anybody to do, especially for Christians when we know we have power with God. The waiting game, there's no game about it. The waiting is the hard part for us. Because we know God has a simple, like last week, we know God has the ability to just peace be still and everything's quiet. Everything's taken care of. And we know God can do this. But sometimes we just need to be patient and be determined and wait for it. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith that one day the waters will be troubled and you'll be healed. Or whatever's going on. Miracles do happen. And you just have to wait for it. When I say miracles happen, some people would argue that the pools, they were probably sulfur water, and sulfur water has the abilities to heal if we look at it from a scientific standpoint. No, these people were healed completely. They were healed of blindness. Sulfur water can't do that. It's a miracle. If we look at everyday life and see the miracles within it, just the ability to breathe can sometimes be a miracle. We overcomplicate things when we should simplify. And we should be determined even when things don't seem to be going our way. This is a lesson from all the way down, from a little kid all the way to adults. We should be determined and wait for it. And then when God sees fit, or when things are the way when they need to be, God will come along, or Jesus will come along, and that affliction will be gone. Even if it's through death. Which is, when we get to heaven, that's the ultimate healing. There's no pain anymore. There's no sadness. There's no remorse for things that you can't change anymore. There's only peace and happiness and joy. And this world will fade away, and there will be no more wars. There will be no more hurting people. There will be contentment at last. But until that day, or whether it's through death or the end of time, we must be determined to walk with God. And sometimes we just gotta wait upon the waters to be troubled. And wait upon Jesus. Because with Jesus, all things are possible. Nothing's impossible for God. Nothing's impossible for Jesus. Because God and Jesus are one. But that's another lesson. Okay. I love you guys. Next week, new lesson. There's 2 more lessons in this series. Yeah. Remember, guys, I love you. God loves you so much. And there's nothing you can do about it. Yeah, nothing. So no matter where you are in this life, remember you are loved. You're not going through this life alone. You are always loved by someone. And He is abundantly clear that He loves you. Because He holds the whole world in His hands. Okay, bye guys.